All right, guys. Hey, this is Adam with Blue Line. Really appreciate everyone that responded to our Instagram comments yesterday and gave me some good tying ideas. So one of the funniest ones I thought from yesterday was to tie something that was complicated for kind of no good reason. And it reminded me of a fly that I tied a couple months ago that I had a good idea, but for some reason it was just overtly complicated, and figured I'd tie that for you to get today. So I'm going to start out with a octopus stinger hook. Just go ahead and load that up. This is a little Sculpin pattern, and it definitely fishes, but for some reason, this idea that I had about one of these steps is really, really complex, so you'll see that in a sec. So I'm just going to go ahead and dress the rear hook there. We've been fishing a lot of these natural colors, so that's the color that I'm going to use there on my zonker. So I'm just going to start off so this Sculpin is going to run hook point up. So I like to tie my zonker piece in with it hook point up, and I'm going to take my scissors and just make a little notch right back here. So my hook is going to sit right in that little groove. Why I do that, I don't know, but I do. I'm just kidding. So it kind of gives you a little more of a tail behind it. Plus, also gives you a good spot to tie it in at. I feel like it ties in easier and it's less likely to spin. Which I know some folks, especially new guys working with zonker, that can be a big one. But there we go. Good look at that. So I just like to pull that all back down, kind of split them 50-50 over the hook. There we go. First step's done. So just move that thread over to the other side. I'm just going to get that back out of the way. So, next step, we've got olive flashabou. This craziest thing is that this fly only uses two materials, but yet it's so difficult. So I'm just going to get a couple fibers of it here. I don't know, probably 6 or 8. So remember, this is the top of the fly. This is the bottom of the fly. So as the tail, we're going to tie in this flashabou. There it is. If you lick that flashabou, it lets it all sit together. A lot nicer for when you tie it in. All right. So, got that tied in. I'm going to just fold it over so that I've got those tips starting at the exact same spot. Bring your thread up just a little bit. Go ahead and tie that off real quick with a half hitch. So I'm about to just spin this forward. Kind of give it a flashy underneath side. Get back to here, we're going to tie it off again. Just make sure they're kind of laying backwards. Go in and trim these just a little shy of the tail back here. Now we're going to repeat that exact same process. Just tie it in just so that these tips are just shy of what you just cut. Lost a piece. half hitch at the front. There you have it. So that's the belly of the fly, right? So you get a lot of that, just that flash giving it a little more bulk. Obviously going to have a lot more movement than just a straight piece there. So it'll look kind of cool. Now here's where this fly becomes difficult. Because I'm going to take another piece of this flash glue, tie that in on the top. There we go. Flip it. Remember, this is the top of the fly here. So just going to bring this up, tie off that zonker strip. Just like that. So your rear hook is done. So here's the part that starts getting tricky, is trying to deal with both this zonker and this flashaboo hanging out in this articulation. A lot of spit required to keep this stuff in check. Just going to whip finish on top of that. There we go. So there's rear hook done. Let's get that hook set in the, or that shank set in the vise. Like to use a little bit of glue over those shanks there just to help seal that little gap up. Alright, so remember, this is going to ride hook point up, so hook point is the top. Step is we're going to bring this zonker piece over the top of the articulation there. This is a little tough because you don't want it to be super tight, or else you're going to restrict some of your movement for the tail. But you don't want it to be really loose either. That little move there, anytime I'm working with a zonker, I'll just take my bodkin and slide it through, peel all the hairs away, so that I expose the leather at the bottom to tie into. There we go, so it's still got some movement in it. Pull it up over the top. Now, trying to deal with all this flashaboo that we tied in is a pain. But for some reason I want it to go over the articulation. I don't know why. But this part is what made it just the most overtly complicated fly for no good reason. Just like the first one, we're going to fold it over. Now, could I just hide some in here and done this whole process without dealing with the articulation? Absolutely, I could have. And I should have. So there we go. So this body is going to be just like the rear one. We're going to keep using this Flashabou. We're tying this Flashabou. Obviously, I've got this licked now. So maybe it'll cooperate. Just going to start wrapping this just like we did the rear hook. One more piece. Well, piece. One more 6 pieces. Just going to keep wrapping this. Got some eyes. There we go. Looking good. Alright, so I do want to finish off this flash on the underneath side before we finish off with the zonker. Take my last little piece here. Tie it in behind the eyes. Come over the eyes, tie it in front, and then fold it back over. Back in front of the eyes. There you have it. The longest tie for the smallest fly that I probably do. And that is overtly complicated and difficult for no good reason. And that could be done easier, but I don't. And there you have it. Obviously, you tie these a lot bigger. I like fishing some smaller sculpins every now and then. I like to have a few in the box. I like this one because that Flashaboo weighs nothing and holds no water. The zonker is pretty lightweight. Beginners can easily throw this. This fly can easily be thrown on some 3 weights could handle this. It's also a good one to nymph. If you like to nymph streamers every once in a while, this can be a good one to do. It's got a lot of movement. I like having that hook point up, especially sculpin, so I can fish them low and slow. Anyways, there you have it. One of our patterns that just doesn't make a lot of sense. But there it is. It's kind of cool. I do think that flash actually looks really good over the whole bottom of the fly. Found a stray hair in here. There you go. Doesn't that look a lot better now? Oh yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in to the overly complicated sculpin for no good reason. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your quarantine.